Hey everyone, if you're gearing up for law exams, you know some legal terms can feel, well, a little intimidating. So today we're going to crack open one of the most important concepts in family law, maintenance pendente lite, right from Section 24 of the Hindu Marriage Act. Let's break it down, shall we?
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down what pendente lite actually means. Then, we'll get into who can claim it and how courts figure out the amount. After that, we'll look at the specific law and a huge case that shaped it. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a quick revision session to get you prepped for your exams.
All right, first things first. Let's get to the heart of it. What exactly is this legal safety net we're talking about?
I want you to just imagine this for a second. You're right in the middle of a separation or a divorce. Things are dragging on for months, maybe even years. Your emotions are all over the place, the legal bills are stacking up, and on top of everything, you don't have an income of your own. The big question is, how are you supposed to survive?
And that is the exact problem that Maintenance Pendente Lite was created to solve. You can think of it like a temporary financial bridge. It's there to make sure that one spouse isn't left completely vulnerable or broke while the court case is still playing out.
Now the name Pendente Lite sounds super formal, I know, but it's really just old school Latin. Pendente means during, and lite is just short for litigation. Put them together, and it literally means during the litigation. It's just maintenance that's paid while the legal proceedings are pending. See? Simple as that.
So, why is this so important? Well, the whole purpose is to make sure there's a level playing field. It stops a financially stronger spouse from using money as a weapon to force the other person into an unfair deal. It's the law recognizing the reality that in a lot of marriages, one partner is often economically dependent, and it provides a way to protect them from real hardship during that tough legal process.
Okay, so we know what it is and why it's there. The next obvious question is, who can actually get this support? Because it's not automatic. You have to prove a few key things to the court.
There are basically 4 boxes you have to tick. 1. There has to be a matrimonial case already up and running in court. 2. The person asking for the money is the spouse with less income or maybe none at all. 3. And this one's a big deal. The claimant has to prove they genuinely can't support themselves. And finally, number 4, the other spouse has to actually have the financial ability to pay. The court really does look at both sides of that coin.
So, let's say you're eligible. Now for the million-dollar question. Or maybe not $1 million. How much are we talking about? This isn't just a number the judge picks out of a hat. There's a real method to the madness.
The court doesn't just look at one thing. It looks at the whole picture. It considers both incomes, what they reasonably need to live, and any other people they might be supporting. But here's a crucial factor: the standard of living the couple had during the marriage. The goal isn't just bare survival, you see. It's to make sure the dependent spouse can live in a way that's reasonably close to what they were used to.
Now, while every single case is different, the courts have kind of developed a general rule of thumb. And for your exams, this is a fantastic number to have in your back pocket. The amount awarded usually lands somewhere between 20 to 33% of the paying spouse's net income.
Let's make this real with a quick example. Let's say the husband earns 50,000 rupees a month and the wife has 0 income. If we take 30%, that gives us a starting point of 15,000 rupees. But look here, the final award is a range. That's because the court will then tweak that number based on all those other factors we just talked about, like if there are kids to support or if the husband also has to care for his aging parents.
Okay, let's switch gears and dive into the legal bedrock for all of this. The actual laws on the books and the big court cases that have interpreted them. So this is the big one, Section 24 of the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955. This is the legal foundation for everything we've been talking about. It's what explicitly gives a husband or a wife the right to go to court and ask for maintenance and money for legal fees while the case is going on.
Now, it is absolutely critical not to mix up Section 24 with Section 25. Section 24 is all about temporary support during the case. Section 25, on the other hand, only comes into play after the divorce is final. That's when we start talking about permanent alimony. So think of it this way. Section 24 is the emergency bridge, and Section 25 is the long-term plan.
And just to round out the picture, there's also Section 26. This one deals specifically with the kids, their custody, their maintenance, their education. It's a separate but related issue that runs alongside the spousal support.
So how does all this theory actually work in a real courtroom?
Well, the case of Naveen Kohli versus Neelu Kohli from 2006 is a landmark decision that really gives us some clear guidance.
The facts of the case were pretty standard. The wife asked for interim maintenance. The husband argued, "Hey, I'm having money problems. I can't afford it." So this put the central legal question right in front of the court. Can a spouse just say they can't pay and get out of their duty to provide support?
And here's the powerful answer from the Supreme Court. The judgment hammered home the point that the standard of living during the marriage is a top priority. It put the burden of proof squarely on the husband to prove he couldn't pay. Just saying it wasn't enough. He had to show real evidence.
Whew, okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's boil all of this down into the absolute must-know exam-ready points. This is your final recap.
Here we go. Remember, it's temporary support. It's under Section 24. It's for a spouse who can't maintain themselves. The key things to look at are income and standard of living. It only lasts until the case is over, and its whole point is to prevent financial suffering during the lawsuit. Got it? Good.
And that brings us to a final thought to chew on. You know, we live in a time where marital roles are changing, and economic independence is becoming more common for both partners. So what does inability to maintain oneself really mean today, and how might the court's interpretation of that phrase change in the years to come? It's a really interesting question that proves this area of law is always evolving. Thanks so much for joining me.